Rhodes.
Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening. How are we doing? Thank you for your patience. Thank you. I do appreciate it. We're a little bit late, but it's, I suppose, an Indian or the IST is what? The stretchable time. I'm well accustomed to that fact. So please forgive us. We were having a cup of tea. No other excuse. We were just having tea, keeping you waiting. The interesting thing is, as a cricket player, an ex-cricket player, another danger here is that you never give an ex-cricket player or a politician the microphone because they just don't give it back, ever. And they just talk about themselves, which I suppose in this environment is what I'm supposed to be here for, so you're lucky. So when time comes for me to leave, just let me know. I've had an incredible time since retirement. In fact, I worked for Standard Bank. I mean, one of your clients in South Africa. Stan Chartered, they left South Africa during the apartheid years. Far too fancy, my rock star. And the amazing thing is that having come from a sporting environment where I played for my country for 11 years, I think you put in a banking environment, everyone thinks, man, that must have been so boring. How did you ever sit still in a bank? And the fascinating thing was that every single day, I have a Bachelor of Commerce degree. So I have a Bachelor of Commerce degree, and when I first retired, I asked Standard Bank for a job. No one else would give me a job, let's face it. And they were the sponsors of the one-day team. I said, okay, come, we'll do meet and greet and speak to school children and come to a few client lunches and dinners and golf days. And I said, no, thank you. Because what happens in 3 years' time? When the next guy retires, and where does Jonty go? You forget about that fall over the stumps and someone takes a good picture. That run out that I did against Inzamam, suddenly no one remembers that. That run out I did against Inzamam. And so Standard Bank very kindly took me on as a business banker. And the most exciting thing was that every single day I learned something new. So whether it's about cricket, my forward defense, my late cut, my diving at the stumps, not something I practiced or learnt about, it just happened. But aspects of the game, as long as I was learning something new every day, I was pretty excited to go to the office and be a banker, of all things. Because procedures, policies, products, meeting the clients, sitting with them in their environment and learning from them and their business. But man, he was effective. He got everybody so worked up. We were throwing the ball from the boundary trying to hit him, not trying to hit the stumps. Anyway, so for the Sri Lankans, they had 4 years to become world champions. And nobody wanted to play against them in those 4 years. So they hardly had any matches to prepare and change and do what they wanted to do in that build up to the World Cup. But the game strategy by all the teams at that 92-96 World Cup, the first 15 overs, this was days before power play. Kepler Wessels, our captain. 5 overs later. Because the plan was not to lose any wickets, maybe one, just egg wicket, no problem. 45, 50 runs. That's a score, 15 overs, 45, 50 for one maximum, no more. And at the end, we'll hit the ball for sixes and we'll build a platform and lay a foundation, and then we will go big. All the teams are doing that. Sri Lanka went, man, it didn't work for us in 1992. Why are we expecting that to work for us in 1996? So 2 names. Sanath, Kalu, yeah, Ramesh. Likely those are the only 2 names that I can pronounce in the whole Sri Lankan squad in that 1996 year. Hey, remember Gunnar. But these 2 little guys, man, they were given license. Said, if you can score between 90 and 100 in the first 15 overs, and we're 3 wickets down, we are winning the game. We're taking the game away from the opposition. And you remember Sanath, I mean, he walked to the crease and he was aiming there, but it went there for 6. Not a problem, not a problem. Scoreboard doesn't say how the 6 was hit. It just says 6er. Boundary, no problem. Kalu and Sanath just creamed everybody. Suddenly all the other teams are going, pinch hitter, who can be pinch hitter for us? Because Kepler Wessels, he's not going to change the way he's playing cricket. Pat Simcox, you got good hands and you hit the ball a long way, but not consistent. So Sri Lanka became world champions because they changed the way that cricket was played. So as South Africans, we were the #1 ranked team at that World Cup. So rather frustrating not to win it. Not that Sri Lanka knocked us out, we got knocked out before they got to us. by Brian Lara. Decent player, not bad that guy, Brian Lara. Oh, I mean the West Indies, sorry, did I say Brian? I mean West Indies beater. Brian Lara scored 100. The rest of them were pretty average. But he was incredible. So 1996, we were #1 ranked team, didn't win the World Cup, and saw the way that the Sri Lankans changed the game. So Hansie Cronje was captain, Bob Woolmer was the coach. Said, guys, if anybody, other than Herschel Gibbs, anybody comes up with an idea, bring it. Let's try it. Let's put it into practice in the net. Herschel, no thank you, Herschel. You keep your ideas. Because he's been touring the West Indies. Wasn't me. So Herschel had a bit of a history. Has been a guy who liked to step over the boundary in the wrong time of the day. So a rather naughty guy, great character in the side, and a great team man, and a very funny bloke. And also a pretty decent cricket player to boot. But anybody else but Herschel, bring the ideas, let's try them. Let's try and be different, change the way the game is played. And at the World Cup in 1999, our first match was hosted in England, and our first match was against India at the Hove. And what Bob Woolmer had said to Hansie Cronje was, Bob had been watching television, and there was American football going on. We don't know anything about American football in South Africa. Maybe you guys do here, and girls. You play? No, huh? No, us neither. But what Bob Woolmer said was interesting for him was that he watched the head coach. He had the headphones on, he had a little microphone, and he was... Wow, that was loud. Have you been hearing me? Must I start again? Have you heard the start of this, huh? I'll never start again, okay. So Bob Woolmer saw the coach talking directly to the players on the field through the helmets. They had microphones and receivers in their helmets. So what he said to Hansie was, listen, Hansie, you often as a leader and as a group captain, it's quite difficult when you're right up against the coalface to see the bigger picture. So you're in it and you're in the fray and you're in the mix. It's quite difficult to see the bigger picture and difficult to step back because you want to lead by example. You want to be the first guy there. So Bob Woolmer said, Hansie, if I see something from the stand, I want to be able to tell you. But you can't have this communication devices because we weren't too sure about breaking the law of cricket. So we wanted to be innovative, but we don't want to be cheating. So we go back to the cricket rule book, which was written in 1840 by some Englishman. And obviously there's nothing there about communication devices at all. So we're okay, this is not breaking the law, it's not in the rule book, we're not breaking the law. Cool, we will use it without telling anybody. So Hansie puts this, it looked like a small hearing aid that fits into your ear. So nothing on the outside, but Hansie was a bit conservative, so he put a strip of plaster over his ear just to hide that little earpiece. Alan Donald grew up in like a tier 4 city, town, not even a city, tier 4 town in South Africa, the equivalent of, maybe even if there's another level, slightly smaller than a tier 4. And he was a guy that became obsessed with gadgets because he was deprived as a youngster. So he saw Hansie put this gadget in his ear. Oh no, I want one. And unfortunately it came in a pack of 2. So there was one for Alan Donald. So he puts this thing in his ear. Alan, what do you want a communication device for in your ear? Oh no, in case I'm bowling and my wrist is falling and the coach can, hey Alan, keep your wrist up. He just wanted it because it was a gadget. That's the only reason why he wanted it. Absolutely. And gadgets in those days was a portable DVD player, which was as big as the biggest, laptop that you can get these days. But anything you could plug into the wall and turn on, Alan had to have it. So the first over, it's a summer day in England at the Hove. You got 2 jerseys on, it's freezing cold, especially for the Indian guys who've come from like 45 degrees in Mumbai. Alan Donald hands his cap over and his 2 jerseys, his 2 jumpers. And then he digs in his ear like this to the umpire and he hands him this brown blob. And the umpire goes, oh, Alan, no shower? What's going on? You clean your ear. He says, no, it's a communication device. He says, what is that? By then, Hansie's now come over and he's taken his plaster and he's taken out his little brown blob and handed it to the umpire. And the umpires then get on their walkie-talkies and they speak to Mr. Clive Lloyd, who's the match referee for the day. And they come, Mr. Lloyd, come in. Yeah, man, what's going on? No, the South Africans have communication devices. Can they carry on? So he goes back to the rule book, 1840. There's nothing there about communication devices. So Clive Lloyd, in his ruling, says, guys, it's not against the law because it's not in the law book, but he feels it's against the spirit of the game because nobody else has one. That's the whole point! Of course they haven't thought about it! We've thought about it, we want to apply it. We want want to change it. I mean, we saw Virat Kohli talking the other day on a walkie-talkie to his teammates. I mean, how much has the game changed? That's in 1999. But the whole thing for us was we weren't breaking the law. We were looking for ways to be innovative, to be the people driving the change in the game. Because that's how we firmly believed we would stay ahead of the opposition. Because just adopting change and accepting change that other people are doing successfully around you just means that you're keeping up or trying to catch up. So initiate the changes in your teams, in your organizations, in what you're offering to your client base. Be the people and the person initiating that change. Gee, sorry, I tell a long story just for that. Okay, change. I'll go faster. The second lesson that I learned, and it was an amazing lesson, it was drummed into me literally by my father. Now, my father is a teacher. Still, he was a headmaster, a sports coach, at the same school now still. He's 74 years old, and he's still associated with the same school. So he's a bit of a legend in the small town that we come from, because I think he's taught and beaten with a stick. Now, it's not a police lathi, so it's not a big stick that you can lean on like this, hey, and hit. It's a smaller cane, but it is a cane, rod. And if a boy only, we were at an all-boys school, if a boy stepped over the line and needed disciplining, headmaster's office, ka-tuck, you'd get a whack. Naughty boy, ka-tuck. Very naughty boy, my father would smile. 3. But the problem in South Africa, I suppose in India we have the same issue with our mummies. Some of the boys here and we're the ladies here who've got mothers-in-law. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, boys here and their mummies. Anyway, so my father was a bit concerned that if he had to beat one boy for being naughty, justifiably so, it's in the school rules, and the mother could complain because the boy had got hit 3 times, he thought what he will do was he will perfect the hit so that all 3 are in the same spot. One line. So the boy comes home and says, Mommy, look! Mr. Rhodes hit me not once, not twice, but 3 times. And she goes, what are you talking about? It's one line only. And the lesson, believe it or not the fact that I've got a big backside, because I had to get built-in protection. And as a fielder, it's quite useful because that's where your power comes from. You see all the athletes, the sprinters, I mean, they got muscles. I had to have protection from my father in his cane. But the lesson that he taught me, as I said, he drummed it into us. I'm one of 3 boys, so you can imagine, in our house. So we played all sorts of sports. The balls were lying around, got hit, windows were broken, boys were hit, crying. If there were any tears, all 3 come here, line up, tuk, 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 let me practice for the day, thank you, off you go. The window is broken, no stories, all 3 come here, tuk, 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 move on. Take it and go. And he's done his practice, all 3 in one line. And that lesson stayed with me for a long time, fortunately. As I said, it was drummed into us. But the lesson there was to practice like you play. Because too often we heard as schoolboys and as young cricket players, and if you're aspiring to be anything or achieve stuff, it's practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. You've got to spend time doing the discipline to get it right. And my dad said to me, Jonty, that is half the story. It's perfect practice that makes perfect. It's not practice that makes perfect. I can stand there. And I think that the key there with that is that you can't afford to leave your A game for the day of the match. You can't walk onto, we learned that, you can't walk onto the field now, okay, now we've brought our A game, now we're going to take on Australia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. It's in your preparation where you achieve those goals. If you haven't done the work at a match intensity in the build-up to the game, it is too late. And I think within an organization, we all aspire, we all strive, especially from a leadership point of view, we all have values. I mean, anything about my batting was not a bad thing, it wasn't much to think about. But they remember 3 pictures. The one was me falling over my laces, running out Inzamam. One was kind of diving, catching a ball in my fingertip. Maybe only 2. So it was a very short career. It was 11 years, so 2 highlights. But people ask, how did you take those catches and how did you stop the balls? And the lesson that I learned early on was the freedom to fail is vital if you're going to succeed. None of us like to fail. Cricket players, ex-cricket players, we have egos. All of us have egos in various degrees. But none of us, we get embarrassed when we fail. As I said, I worked for a bank. You have your valuation at the end of the year. There are things that you did right and there are things that you didn't get right. You didn't receive your budgets in certain areas, didn't qualify for a bonus at the end of the year. And that is on a piece of paper and is given to you. And none of us like to fail. But if we're inhibited by that thought that if I go beyond what I'm good at, if I do what I am employed to do every day, bosses are happy, team captains are happy, colleagues are happy because I'm doing what I've been asked to do. Because I don't make a mistake. I'm not going to mess this up. This is as good as I have to be. But what if? What if you step out of that and go, man, if I go all the way or all out, if I reach for the next goal or the next step, what is possible? And that freedom to fail was so vital. And it kind of encapsulated my feeling, as I said. It was a case of, I would rather go for the ball and drop it. And that's the same thing now with Mumbai Indians. As the fielding coach, I don't mark anybody down when they drop a catch. I pretend to write in my book, because Mrs. Ambani is watching me, I know that, because I'm writing. I'm playing noughts and crosses and crossword puzzles in my little black book. 6 letters down, crossword puzzles. I'm not writing anything about the poor guy who's dropped a catch, because I know where the camera's going to go. Fielding coach. Anyway, man, crazy. Mrs. Ambani, shh, Jonty, what's going on here? I've played cricket, I've dropped catches, I've missed balls in the field, I know what it's like. But if a guy stands there and the ball goes past and he hasn't moved, then I'm writing in my notebook which ball it was, which over, who the batter was, and I go back to him and say, what do you think? Could you have got the ball? Well, I said, yeah, I know, you'll never know. If you don't go, you'll never know. And that was my whole fielding philosophy. It used to irritate my colleagues at times because I was given the nickname of the Indian rubber man. I'd come to India, and nothing to do with Chris Gale and his endorsements recently. Was it Score? Who's he endorsed? I'm not a champion. No, I'm not a champion. But the Indian rubber man, because I would hit the ground and I'd bounce straight back up. Because for me, half the skill was the stop, the second half was getting up to make the run out. And bounce around the fields in India, and as you can imagine, not much grass in the outfields, and if there was grass, it was as hard as that anyway. So there must have been no grass, it's just for television's sake. But my teammates had a term for me at backward point. Oh, Jonty, nice TV dive! What's a TV dive? You were not even in the picture. The ball went past, and there you are diving. You get up and you're bleeding, and the only reason so is your mother at home can watch and say, look at my boy, isn't he wonderful? No one else is even dirty and he's just bleeding. No one else even died because it's so hard. But my philosophy was, if I didn't go for the ball, I will never know. And the lesson that I learned, the place that I learned it the hardest for me was in the 2003 Cricket World Cup in South Africa, which we hosted, not for very long. 2003. But we read the fine print. When you host a tournament, you bring in the teams, you rake in the tourism, the hotels benefit, the service industries benefit, the culture of the world, where we have lots of similarities and so many differences, which is, as I said, this exciting thing for me, that every time I come here and learn more about other people, I learn about myself. But in South Africa, we have our growth, well, can't be called a growth rate, it's 0.7%. That's not even 1% growth in an economy. In fact, Q1, Q2 this year, we were technically in a recession because we had negative growth 2 quarters in a row. I think that's correct. I'm not a bank anymore. Yeah. I think that's what I read. So we got out of that, but it's 0.7%. 27% unemployment in South Africa. Real issues that we have. So here I am, one of 55 million people thinking, well, what's the point of me doing anything? It's too big a problem. It's the government's role. It's the captain's job. It's the CEO's job. It's anybody else's job but mine. Especially in India, where there's 1.2, I can never work out how many. Once you get over 1 billion, just actually stop counting. It doesn't really matter. I mean, let's face it, 200 million is not really going to affect anything. So here you are, one of 1.2 or 3 billion people. So what's the point in an organization that has what? On campus? 10,000, 8,000 people at a time? So you work within an organization that has, I don't know, lakhs of employees, possibly. what's the point of me getting up and doing that little bit extra? My contribution is just one. Ek. And that's my whole fielding coach philosophy with Mumbai Indians. Save me one run. Because you think of the IPL matches, most of the IPL games come down to the last ball of the game. Definitely the last over, where it's 6 runs or 4 runs, and very often the winning margin is just 1 run. So if I've asked 11 guys in the team, save, and the wicket keeper included, if it bounced off the pads, quickly get there, save me 1 run. If you dive on the boundary and they run 3, it didn't go for 4, we're winning. That's the 1 run that I wanted. 1 run can make a difference. And where I've seen it on a cricket field, 1 run making a difference. The 1999 Cricket World Cup. Yes. Yes, I know what you're thinking. I have very selective memory. I've forgotten all World Cups, obviously. Very painful part of my growing up career, not learning lessons in life. But we tied the semi-final with Australia. We didn't lose the semi-final. We tied the game. I think it was 213 or 217, very low scoring game. Lance Cruiser going like crazy. Him and Alan Donald dropped the bat. Go West State, don't come. Crazy. 1 more run. Australia thrashed Pakistan in the final. Not saying we would have won the final, but we would have been in our first final with 1 more run. 2003, as I said, we hosted that World Cup in South Africa. We were playing against Sri Lanka, our last pool game. And I've broken my finger in the second game, so I'm not there. I'm not taking any responsibility. It's also the last time I owned a television set. So I think I kicked that one and swore never to get a television set again. 2003, it was just the pool. It was the first round stage. We were playing against Sri Lanka in the last game of the first round. We had to win. We needed 2 points from that match to proceed. The rain was coming, and by now there's Duckworth-Lewis that's been introduced into the laws of the game. So you know what Duckworth-Lewis, every ball that is bowled, so 17.1 overs, the score must be 137 for 2. Lose a wicket, the score changes. 17.2 overs, 17.3, every ball, it's a different score. They send out Mark Boucher, who's batting. The South African cricket team, those fools. They send him out a message saying at the end of this over, the score must be 137. Because that's what the sheet says. So Boucher's batting with Klusner, and Murali's bowling. He's not bad, he's pretty useful. Even when it's wet and raining, he can still spin the ball. So Boucher's now, there's 2 balls to go, he's only on 131. So he plays this magnificent shot, it goes for 6. 137! 1 more ball to go. And he knows, if he gets out, the score is changing. Defended. No run, but no wicket. There's small print at the top of the Duckworth-Lewis table says, to tie the match, the score must be 137. 1 more run. We out the tournament. Thanks for coming, everyone. Keep playing, we'll watch you on television. Not Jonty, his foot's got stuck in the television, he's pulled it back out, and I've never bought a television. I don't have a television in my house, just in case we play in World Cups again, don't get that close. Terrible. And where 1 run has made a positive difference with the South African team. We played against Australia in Johannesburg the 1 year. I'm now working for Standard Bank, and I'm the sponsorship manager of the team, or for Standard Bank for the national team. And Australia have beaten South Africa in the Test series, which is sponsored by somebody else, so it's fine. I talked to Ricky Ponting. Ricky Ponting's now broken his finger in the Test series. So the first 2 ODIs out of 5, South Africa win. So I'm walking around every game, he has the trophy, polish the trophy, give it to Graham Smith. Suddenly Ricky Ponting says, well, it's do or die, I'm coming back. His hand wasn't ready, he'd broken his finger, and he played with a broken finger. But such was the stature of the man in his team. They then won the next 2 games. It's 2-all. Suddenly I'm thinking, oh dear, I'm not going to polish this too much in case Ricky Ponting gets it. They then play at the Wanderers, they score 434 in a 50-over game. 400 never been breached before. They get to 434, and I'm thinking, Ricky Ponting, I'm going to pretend to be smiling and give Ricky Ponting this trophy. I mean, I've subsequently worked with him in Mumbai Indians. He's an incredible guy, a really positive, awesome team man, and no surprise that his teams were so successful under him and around him. Not just under him, but around him. So now I'm thinking, we've got no chance. Herschel Gibbs, he didn't think anything, as he doesn't. 175. I mean, what a Graham Smith, 90 or 60 balls. And everybody kept getting out. Sixer, boundary out. So we getting closer to the score, closer to the score. In the last over, we were now 8 wickets down. Mark Boucher's batting again, 140 odd not out. But he's now off strike. And Brett Lee, remember him, Brett Lee? He was okay, 150 k's an hour. And when Herschel Gibbs was batting and Graham Smith was batting, this kookaburra was flying all over the stadium and landing on the road and landing on top of the building. So it got very scuffed. So the Australians obviously didn't do anything to the ball to make it reverse swing. Didn't need to. So anyway, so now Brett Lee is bowling to Andrew Hall, who's an all-rounder who's now facing with Mark Boucher. Andrew Hall is facing. So we've got the last over, we're 8 wickets down, we need 6 more runs to win. First ball of the over, straight drive for 4. Now we need 2. So Ponting brings in all the fielders to save us getting an easy single and getting Mark Boucher on strike. Andrew Hall tries the same shot against Brett Lee. Bang, he's caught at mid-on, but in the circle, so no time for Boucher to cross and get on strike. Because batting number 11 for South Africa is Makhaya Ntini. Yeah, lovely guy, amazing guy. And we had roles and responsibilities as top order batsmen in the team. We had to nurture a tail ender. We all gave up with Makhaya. He's just terrible. Cannot bat. I mean, an incredible man with an amazing heart. Would bowl in the hottest of conditions on the flattest wickets and always have a smile on his face. Always, always, always. So he now walked to the crease. Oh, no problem, no problem. And I'm thinking, man, Ricky Ponting's got this trophy. I can't believe we've come so close. And afterwards now, having won the game, he gets 1 down to 3rd man. But he gets an outside edge from about 2 foot outside leg stump. Which is allowed. He's batting number 11 and Brett Lee's bowling 150. So luckily Brett Lee didn't aim at off stump, he aimed at a leg stump. And Makhaya's given himself lots of room and he tells us he's glided the ball to 3rd man. Glided the ball. So, I was dropped from Test cricket for 2 years. My technique was I was a bit of a hockey player, so no problem, but straight bat I wasn't too good. Test cricket, not so easy to edge to 2nd, 3rd slip. There's always somebody standing there. But in one-day cricket, I mean, can you imagine the opposing captain setting a field for Jonty? Where are we going to put this guy? Did you bowl here? Inside edge is 1 here. Outside edge is 1 there. Where do you put a field? Jacques had his perfect technique. Ball comes, straight to the fielder. Straight to the fielder. The captain and the bowler got a plan. Bowling to Jonty Rhodes, impossible to set a field. He doesn't know where the ball's going. How are we supposed to set a field if Jonty Rhodes doesn't know where he's going to hit the damn thing? So anyway, I know I had to work on my technique. I had an outside edge problem. So I recognize an outside edge. Makhaya, that was an outside edge. Not a glide to 3rd man. Anyway, Mark Boucher gets back on strike. So we've got 3 balls to spare. Need 1 more run. For 4. So 434 we chased. It had never been scored before 400. So obviously 400 had never been chased before. We chased down 400 438. I've given the trophy to Graham Smith and I'm so happy and I'm standing next to Makhaya Ntini and he's got the biggest smile on his face than I had. I said, Makhaya, you bowled your 10 overs today for 91 runs. I think maybe there's a small problem, maybe less of a smile on your face. He called me Jojo. Hey Jojo, no. My 1 run. My 1 run, it won the game. I said, tell me how you worked that out. 438, you scored 1. You bowled your 10 overs for 91. If you'd gone for 87, we might have won it way easier. No, not Jojo. If I was out, game was over, Australia win. 1 run. He was so right. Out of 438, which was insurmountable at the start of the day, no one had ever gone past 400, let alone 438. His 1 run won the game for South Africa. So too often we sit, as I said, we look at issues, we look at whatever's going on around us in our organizations, in our teams, and often in our communities. And we think, what is the point of me getting off my seat and kind of putting my shoulder to the issue and trying to make a difference? Because in the whole scheme of things, in 1.2 billion people, what is my 1 run of contribution going to make? What is the difference it's going to make? And I'm here to tell you, it does. Wherever you apply that one-run principle, it makes a difference. Sometimes it's the start of a catalyst that then goes on. Sometimes it finishes 438, that one run. But that one run always plays a massive part in the areas that you are affecting or touching or influencing. So don't think it's somebody else's job to do your contribution. It just requires you. That's all it requires, nothing else. Only one occasion where it was just right. And I spoke about if I practice at high intensity, then whatever happens on the game, I'm ready for it. Whatever that is. Because on a cricket field, the ball's coming at you 140, 150 kilometers an hour. Your brain doesn't have time to tell your muscles what to do. So if you're a batsman, if you're thinking about doing something, you often get into trouble. You got to see the ball and just your body takes over. The same thing when I was fielding. So I'd been diving around, not at the wicket, but diving around the field since I was this big. So when I got the ball, we needed a wicket, we needed a breakthrough desperately. It had been a big thunderstorm in Brisbane in 1992, and Pakistan in those days, the law before Duckworth Lewis, the team batting second was heavily disadvantaged because Pakistan were needing 6 runs and over, suddenly went up to 9 runs and over, and they were getting it, Inzamam and Imran Khan. So the ball was wet from the thunderstorm, the bowlers were battling to bowl, Yorkers, half volleys were going for 4, full tosses going for 4. We needed a wicket. So when I got the ball, I thought if I throw, there's a chance that I miss. And here's an opportunity to take a wicket. So Inzamam, Alu, even at 19, I saw that he'd been sent back. Imran Khan was standing there going, I'll do it, don't worry, I'll do it. Not coming for a single, he'll stay and win the game. So Inzi had to turn around. And I backed my speed against Inzamam. But he actually got closer than I thought he would. So I realized that, hey, I'm going to be short and look very silly. As I said, cricket players, we have egos. So imagine running all the way there and suddenly Inzi's safe and I then throw it underarm from 2 meters and miss it. So the quickest way for me to get to those last 2 meters was basically through the air. I mean, the umpire, Steve Bucknell, had every right to say not out because it was so close, marginally. Those 2 inches, huh? Size doesn't matter, I told you. Oh, this guy's rude. Sorry. Go.
Okay. Next one is from a lady.
Hi, Jonty, Munira here. I want to ask, what's your fitness mantra which you can share with us?
Okay, listen very carefully. I'm only going to say this once, and it's very important. Stripes that go down. Stripes that go down for me. I'm a very short guy. I'm a little bit stocky. That's the only way I look fit and slim. Stripes that go down the shirt. So that's my fitness mantra. It's all in the looks. No, it's not. I tell you what, it's actually, for me, fitness is more about a lifestyle, wellness, as opposed to being fit. My friend Ryan here, there's Ryan. He's a bodybuilder. Oh, you wouldn't be able to say that, would you? Anyway, so he eats dumbbells for breakfast, lunch and dinner, no problem whatsoever. Me, I get there and it's very heavy and I get very tired in the gym. January, New Year resolution, I'm going to get fit, let's get in the gym. It doesn't work, it's not sustainable, it's not something I enjoy doing. I'm an outdoor kind of guy, so we walk as a family, I bicycle, I surf in the ocean, and that's do yoga every day with my wife. The lifestyle from a fitness point of view has been wellness as opposed to fitness. Because wellness is about walking up the stairs instead of taking the elevator. You get your cup of tea with 2 biscuits. What is that in India? Every time I get a cup of tea, there's always 2 biscuits on the saucer. Does the PM own a biscuit factory? Who's in the government owns biscuit factories? Because everybody's eating biscuits. Everybody is always eating biscuits with their tea. So small things that are not, if you look on the grander scale, it's not a massive workout session of an hour. We have burnt 1,000 calories. It's small things that I know I can apply in my daily life that are sustainable. Because if I want to be doing the same things in 12 months' time, when the dividends only start to pay off, let's face it, if you're on a diet or a training regime, the first week or 2 weeks you can drop weight, you can look different, but then the daily grind sets in and the changes over the next 4 or 5 months are very minimal. So how do you sustain that? And my whole wellness and fitness mantra has been about the same as my fielding. If I'm doing what I love, it never seems like an effort. So when I'm eating, I make a conscious decision. Sure, I might have sugar in my tea, but not in my coffee. So I drink more coffee than tea in a day, which is probably why I'm still doing this, bouncing around, too much caffeine in the morning. But I won't eat a biscuit, I won't eat bread, I'll eat what's on the plate for a specific reason. And the problem in India is that the food is so good. And you never order for yourself, you order for the whole table. There's always so much food. And it's very rude not to eat what the people are putting on your plate. Very rude. So the toughest part for me in India is maintaining that. It's about the portion sizes. And I love the local food. Wherever I am, from Gulmarg, I had a vasvan there that was cooked for 24 hours. The food was incredible. To down south Kerala, which is more seafood curries. And very spicy, but loving it. So I'm very aware of the small things that I can apply in my life. Just a small example. Mumbai Indians, when we get given all our kit, and you can imagine with owners like Reliance, we get a lot of kit. Lots of bags to put all the kit in. But we get given these travel bags to take onto the airplane with us. And they all got wheels, and they got backpacks. So you can wheel it or carry it. All the guys wheel it. It was way easier. I carry mine. Because then it's 8 kilograms of a little bit of a load when I'm walking through the airport. It's a small thing. It's not a 1 hour in the gym, running for 20 kilometers, cycling for an hour. It's small things that I can maintain and adopt into my lifestyle and make sure that by the end of the year, I'm still doing those things with some discipline. So it's about making the right choices, but the choices that you can sustain, as opposed to I'm going to hit the gym for this next month and I'm going to be like Ryan. It doesn't happen, sadly. Little things, small things.
And I'm not surprised because he's from Mumbai Indians, whose coach is Jonty. So what extra you did for these people to make them such a fit?
I think the key there, though, is not, it's partly because of what I've done, but also it boils down to leadership. And it's so important in an organization that you can't expect the players to do something if you as the captain aren't doing it. So someone like Dhoni, Virat Kohli, now you've got two very fit captains who have followed one after the other. And the whole emphasis and the focus in the Indian team now is that fielding is an important element of the game. Because if it doesn't come from a Kohli or MS Dhoni, if it does not come from Kohli that it's important, the senior players won't do it. If the captain's not doing it, then the younger guys are going, why should I do it if he's not doing it? So the example's been set and been led by leadership and by management. That's the first thing. The second thing is, again, at practice, we practice those sort of things. If they don't dive, I'll make them do it again. If they get it right, they move on. If they dive and drop it, that's fine. We'll talk about what happened. Was it wobbly, or I thought the body position was a little bit... We correct it, then we move on. It's not 40 minutes of him smashing his body on the ground and on the boundary. We get it right and we move on. So my whole philosophy, again, is if you don't do it at practice, how do you hope to do it in a match? So we practice like we play. But leadership sets their example, asks the guys not to do something they're not doing themselves, which is very important, I think. We've got Rohit Sharma as a captain on our side, taking great catches. It makes a big difference when leadership are setting the example. Makes my job much easier.
Thank you.